So, in November of 2014, I had a privilege of meeting our next speaker, a patient of mine, who I can now call a friend, as well as his family, has shown me and many other patients and staff members the true meaning of hard work and dedication to brain injury recovery. Steve Schreiber, a man of many, many hats, is a dedicated father and husband, a high-ranked Navy pilot, and is the Vice President of North American Strategy and Business Development at Kongsberg Defense System. The story you guys are about to hear is one that will inspire you all. It encompasses the importance of family, the value of dedication from both the patient and the caregiver, and the definition of giving 110% no matter what obstacles are thrown at you. So please give me a round of applause and join me in welcoming Steve Schreiber.
Thank you, everybody. She got a two-armed hug, which, as my therapist, she knows is pretty important. So real briefly, I'm going to go over part of my inspiration, which you're looking at the wall here behind me. My helicopter wing back in 2010. These are all real-world pictures. Real-world because it's humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, search and rescue operations in Haiti. If you remember the 2010 Haiti earthquake, we had 19 of my wing helicopters there within a week of the earthquake, and within 2 weeks we had 33 of my wings helicopters there. They were the only support that the people of Haiti had to bring them food, water, search and rescue, medical aid, and all that good stuff. So I'm very proud of the wing. We had 5,000 sailors, 144 helicopters, 19 squadrons. So pretty exciting time for us, and a time that I'm extremely proud of. My background, 30 years in the Navy. I retired for about a year when my accident happened. It was the unthinkable, obviously not expected. I'm going to talk about that accident, and then I'm going to talk about my recovery and my heroes. So one of the things that happened from my accident is, as everybody knows with strokes, different things happen to your personality. I am very lucky. The only real thing that happened is I tend to cry at the drop of a hat, and my wife says to me, "Welcome to my world." So anyhow, I'll try and behave myself through this. I spent 30 years in the Navy. I amassed almost 6,000 flight hours, 60 different aircraft. I was a Navy test pilot for 3.5 years out of Pax River. Some of you are familiar with that organization. My last military assignment was here at the Pentagon. I was the military assistant to the Undersecretary of the Navy. He's now the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Work. He was a great boss. I was the commander of Helicopter Sea Combat Wing Atlantic out of Norfolk. It's the Navy's largest wing, both East and West Coast, so it was a true honor doing that. Before that, I was a chief of staff for the Eisenhower Strike Group, supporting operations in Afghanistan and Iraq and Somalia. Busy time then and busy time now. I then worked before that at the Special Operations Command in Tampa and deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq a whole bunch of times supporting the special operators and equipment to help them survive IEDs, improvised explosive devices. My capstone event of my career, I was the commanding officer of Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 5 during 9/11 and after 9/11. We were on the USS John F. Kennedy, and we deployed off the coast of Pakistan and Afghanistan right after 9/11 and started killing the enemy. Currently, I'm the Vice President of North American Strategy and Business Development at Kongsberg, and I will say this, Kongsberg is a defense company. They're Norwegian. They have been absolutely magnificent through this whole process for me. really for my wife and my family. They said, we love Steve. We support you guys. You're not going to be on short-term or long-term disability. We don't care how long it takes. We want Steve back. The only reason he won't come back is if he can't work. So they paid me through this whole process as if I was there. They're still supporting us now. I work between 3 and 5 days a week, and I work with the great folks at Inova 2 days a week, still doing PT and OT. So what's my story? Back in July of 2014, there's a lot of stories going around. Oh, he was in a motorcycle accident. He was on a roof. He fell off a roof. He fell off the top of a ladder. Mine was a simple story. I was about 6 feet up on a ladder, a 15-foot ladder. The day before, I was up on it. I was being stupid. I would have 1 foot on the top of the ladder, 1 leg wrapped around the tree. If my wife saw me, she would have killed me. And I had a helmet and goggles and a chainsaw. And I was trimming branches all day long. I missed one branch. I am a little ADD. So I told my wife I was going to go trim this one little branch. And then I was taking her to a movie on a Sunday. I drove out on our little gator. I took the ladder out. It was a very heavy metal 15-foot A-frame ladder. I bought it so it would be stable. I set it up next to the tree. It was unstable. So I moved it about 90 degrees to the cut, so I wasn't able to see the branch I was cutting. I looked. I then chainsawed. It should have been ripped, and it was done. And it was I go, what the heck's going on? I looked around the tree, and I saw about a 6 to 8 inch diameter branch that was above the one I wanted to cut. I saw it as it was right about here. And I went, oh shit, excuse my language. I chucked the chainsaw because that was my biggest worry. But then the branch hit me and the ladder, and it knocked me off the ladder. And what happened next, I've pieced together because I don't have a whole lot of memory. But I landed on all fours and I broke my arm in 2 places, my wrist and my forearm. But then, as I was laying there, the ladder had swung back from the branch and then fell. So this is a large 15-foot A-frame ladder that's very heavy, about 100 pounds. And it hit me like about 5 sledgehammers. And what it did, we learned later, Lori learned right away, besides knocking me out, it shattered C1, C6, T10, and T11. I think everybody in this room knows what C1 means. But the worst thing was, it hit me in the neck. And when it hit me in the neck, it severed my left carotid artery. So, I should have died. I am lucky. I am very lucky. My wife saw me on the ladder from the kitchen. She put some dishes in the dishwasher. She walked past the window and she saw me on the ground with a ladder and a branch on top of me. So she ran out with her cell phone dialing 911, thinking that, well, you know, we'll use it if we need it, and if not, I'll tell them we don't need you. What I can tell you is I can remember sitting up and saying, oh crap, I broke my arm. That wasn't the word I used. I broke my arm because I could see the bone sticking in, not through the skin, but up in the skin. And then I grabbed the back of my head and I'm like, what the hell? And I laid down and that was it. Lori tells me she came out, she did CPR. She was not happy with me. I remember waking up and hearing her and telling her I was sorry. And then I could remember hearing the EMTs and hearing the helicopter, which is kind of upsetting because I love helicopters. I fly helicopters. I test helicopters. I got a free, not a free ride, a $35,000 ride, 30-minute ride in a helicopter that I can't remember. So apparently I was responsive and talking to folks. I don't remember. I spent 4 weeks in the ICU at Inova Fairfax. It was not good. They waited a night for me to stabilize, apparently. Did some surgery. It was about a 10-hour surgery. Put some rods and plates in my neck, titanium, so I don't usually set stuff off at the airport. It's not magnetic. But the bad thing that happened, with me is the night after the surgery. They didn't give me a blood thinner because they didn't want this to bleed out. Luckily, they found that this had severed with a CTA, I believe they call it. I had a brilliant neurosurgeon that asked for that test just to make sure. So they gambled. You know, is he going to have a stroke or do we bleed out? I think they made the right choice. I had a stroke. I had a traumatic stroke that night. One of the night nurses noticed it. And then Lori had to deal with it. So, 4 weeks in the ICU, which there was zero memory. I think my brain shut down to try and recover. And then 7.5 weeks with Inova Mount Vernon in the inpatient acute rehab. Incredibly patient folks taking care of me. I was pretty darn high maintenance. That's when my memory started. I was able to kind of think and see and talk to Lori. They had me on an intubation for almost 4 weeks. So that was not good. They took a chance. She forced them to trach me. They did this, and I was able to breathe on my own. She said, "You don't know my husband. You need to give him a chance." She gave me the chance, and they did. So then, when I woke up, I couldn't figure out what was going on because I couldn't see out of my left eye. So you medical folks know that this artery supplies blood to your left optic nerve. That eye is not there. It works, but there's black. So I lost my eyesight as well as a stroke, as well as breaking my neck. Inova Mount Vernon took care of me for about 7.5 weeks. Then Lori had to take care of me for 2 months at home. We had home care in a hospital bed at home where we got to see Priscilla. Priscilla was one of my home health care PT. She's in the room right now. I can't see her from here. But she was a magnificent physical therapist. I got to tell you, our home health care that we had was magnificent. I know some people don't have that kind of care. We had great care. We had great care at Inova inpatient. I've had magnificent care at Inova Bridge outpatient. So here I am today. It's been 11 months I've been in the Bridge program. It's been almost 14 months since my accident. I am a success story. I do not look back. The only thing I do is I look back at these pictures and these kinds of things, and it puts a smile on my face because it was some fun stuff. I look forward. I look forward to what's tomorrow going to be. My goal is to get better every day, and I will tell you that even at 14 months, after a stroke that should have taken cognitive, it should have taken a lot of my personality, it should have taken speech, it took my right side. I'm jogging. It's a slow jog. It's about a 12 to 13 minute mile, but I'm jogging with a little bit of a limp. I work 3 to 5 days a week. I come to therapy 2 days a week for 3 to 4 hours with the girls. So they're part of my motivation. Yes, they're very good-looking young ladies. And I can say that to my wife of 33 years. So no, we're not going to be getting divorced. That's not in the cards. So anyway, so what are the keys? What are the keys? This is why I wanted to come and talk to you all. I know Kelly, and I'll talk about Kelly here in a minute. She knows and she's heard this before. What are the keys to my success? We heard one of the pieces this afternoon by Dr. Jeff. It's a strong family support system. So my wife and best friend has been my rock. Every day. My kids, my daughter, my son-in-law, my son, my second family, Kelly, Caitlin, Heather, Ori, you girls are amazing. That's the key. You've got to be surrounded by people that care. And then you have to care. The patient has to care. They have got to want to get better. Because I will tell you, this is hard. This is hard. It took me 4 months to get the right hand to even get a thumb to barely move, let alone lift the arm. It took 2.5 months for Ori to teach me how to walk again, and that was with a walker and then with a 4-point cane. So there was a lot of motivation, there was a lot of tears, pain, as we were doing this. I can tell you that the hardest thing for you all to hear from me as a patient is to be able to feel a part of your body and not be able to communicate with it is awful. I mean, you could touch my toes, you could touch my fingers, I could feel it, I couldn't move it. And I gotta tell you, that was frustrating, it was painful, it was disheartening, but I had my therapist, I had my wife, the kids telling me, you can do it, you can do it. They never gave me false hope. They always gave me hope, okay? And that's the key that you all in this room bring, is hope. All you can do is teach us what to do. We have to be willing and able to do it. I will tell you, the doctors said the only reason I'm alive is because I was in good shape. As a military guy, not all military guys and gals are in great shape, but I worked out 4 to 5 days a week my whole life. Up to the accident, I was working out 4 to 5 days a week. I was a martial artist for 45 years. This was my life. But this is why I knew how to fall when I hit the ground. It's also why this artery took over, and this one did an occlusion, they call it, so it blocked itself. Otherwise, I should have died on the spot. So working out is important. It's real important. You never know when you might need it. My wife, my kids, my therapists are my cheerleaders. My wife and kids are the shoulders that I can cry on and I can laugh with. I've had great and caring friends, fantastic doctors. Dr. Shania, he's my neurosurgeon. He saved my life. Dr. Khosla, a lot of you know him. We call him our Indian angel. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And of course, you all know Dr. Gisolfi. He's the guy who got me through all this. He took me into the program at the inpatient when they shouldn't have taken me. I was in awful shape. But he took a chance on me. And I love these guys, and I will forever. I had great nurses. I will tell you that the Inova Fairfax ICU nurses, not the doctors, the nurses, are the ones who kept me alive. They kept me alive. They didn't give up on me. My wife didn't, and they didn't. My therapists, inpatient, Ori, she's here. Heather, Margaret, you know, they work with me when I couldn't move in the bed, and they'd still move my arm or move my legs and say, you can do it. It's important. You guys are important. You really are. My outpatient, Kelly and Caitlin. For 10 months, almost 11 months, you're putting up with my crap. Always motivating me, always having a smile, always pushing me, always trying to invent something else hard for me to do. But I will tell you, the secret is when you can't just do it at therapy. You got to do it at home. The patient's got to want to do it. They've got to be physically capable of doing it. But they have to want to do it, and they have to continue this. They have to do it at home. I do this every day. It's like training for the Olympics. I have not done anything so hard in my whole life. I've had people shooting at me. I've had airplanes try and crash on me. This is the hardest thing I have ever done. It's daily, but it's worth it. It's worth it because I've got family and friends that are pushing me for it. that I want to come back to. What's the norm? I want to come back to the norm. It's not a full recovery, I understand that, but it's a recovery. I will tell you it's a millimeter a week. A millimeter a week is progress. I can see, even at 14 months, I can almost see a daily improvement in my hand, in my arm, and I know Kelly is actually seeing it now too with some of the stuff that I'm doing, and she smiles because she honestly probably thought I would never be able to do it, even though I told her I wanted to. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So you've got to have determination, and you got to be stubborn, and I'm pretty darn stubborn. Ask my wife and my therapists. So what's the secret to therapy? Therapists have to have huge hearts, and they've got to be so patient and caring, and they've got to be able to do this day in and day out. I don't know how you guys do it, but it's a gift. It's a much appreciated gift. I know some of your patients don't say thank you. I say thank you every day, and I say it in my heart every day. And I thank God that you guys do what you do. You know, I always had an appreciation and an empathy for folks in wheelchairs and with disabilities. I was never cold to them. I was always very caring and appreciative to them. Now I see it from a different side because I was there in the wheelchair. I should still be there now, but I'm not. I'm hopefully going to be able to keep giving back to help motivate folks. But as therapists, you're the motivators, and you have to help try and bring out the hope in the patient, but not false hope. You know, teach, and hopefully the patient will listen. Some of them do, some of them don't. And some of them may come back in another couple of years, but I will tell you, you know, the story of that you all often hear is that, you know, at 12 months you are what you are. I will tell you that you are what you are when you stop trying, when you stop working as a patient. It would be very easy to just go, okay, I'm not going to do this every morning for an hour before I get out of bed. I'm not going to do this every evening. And I'm going to just be what I am and move on. So it's easy to give up. Not necessarily give up. It's easy to say, this is too hard. But you can keep getting better. So don't let anybody tell you 12 months. I know there's a story of I think a neurologist. She wrote a book. I haven't read it, but she knew she was having a stroke, and she wrote about it when she was having a stroke. But it took her 8 years to get better. That's my benchmark. Let's see what I'm like in 8 years. The last year has gone by in a flash, but improvements happen every day. You got to be cognitive of your family and friends and be compassionate to that. Thank God I don't have some of the issues with my personality that some folks have. That would be awful. My wife says that she knew that it was okay when she said something to me when I had the full body brace on. I'm laying in the bed, and she crack some kind of joke, and I rolled my eyes at her. So she says, okay, I know that's my Steve. So I'll come back. And I'm coming. You've got to have a positive and a never quit attitude. It's kind of easy to be that way as a military guy because there's the only answer to failure is we lose this country. That's our business in the military, is protecting our way of life. So failure is not an option. Quitting is not an option. And that's kind of inbred into most of us that are in the military. So for me, it's not an option for myself or for my profession. And you got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe that you can and you will do it. That's what I do. And so far, it's working. What I also don't do is I don't look back. I don't look back at stuff other than good things. I'm looking forward to what's tomorrow going to be like. You know, a little blood, sweat, and tears every day is healthy, and that's what I do. And like I said, a millimeter a week is pretty darn good progress. So that's my recovery. That's the secret to my recovery, is people that care and being willing yourself to put the work in that you guys teach us how to do. What I wanted to do now is I wanted to kind of leave some time for you guys to ask me questions as a patient, and I will answer them very truthfully. You know, ask me what works, what doesn't work. Priscilla, I think, had me try a mirror box back in home health care. And I did that thing for 3 months. It didn't seem to make any difference. But then all of a sudden my thumb started to move. So was it the mirror box or was it me? I don't know. You know, the E-stem, the TEMS, those types of devices, I still use it. I think it does help. The exercise bike, I think I'm up to almost 900 miles on that thing. So the girls always laugh and watch because I go pretty hard at it. I'm pretty soaking wet after I'm done. But I think Abby's in here, and one time Abby was helping me set up, and we used to have to wrap this hand up to hold on to the right handlebar. And I was asking her to wrap my hand, and she said, no, try it without it. What do you mean, no? You probably remember that. So I did, and holy crap, I was able to hold on to the handlebar by myself. So it's motivations like that. It's those little things that you guys try and do that make a difference. So I'm open for questions if you guys got any. Yeah.
Constructively as possible, because I know as therapists we've all made mistakes and wish we could go back and do something over again or differently, because you're so eloquent, you can talk about it. Were there some things that you recognized weren't working that you could say, this isn't, or did you just patiently wait it out?
I was pretty vocal, I think. I think the girls will all attest to this, the ladies will all attest to this. It wasn't that things wouldn't work, it would be typically something would hurt. And I was, all my life, no pain, no gain. Now it's no, pain is not good. Make sure you tell them when there's pain and you need to stop. Okay? So typically, mostly the girls, the ladies watch me, and if they see me grimacing, they typically, even today, ask, are you okay? And I go, that hurts, but it's a good hurt. It's a muscle that is finally engaging after over a year that feels good. So I'm trying to think of some of the really good things that really truly helped. There's so much that you all do that does help.
I guess I was thinking about those other things, because what should we do differently? Or, I mean, you must have thought about, most of it was fabulous, but were there some things we could learn from that could have been?
Yeah, I think that it's tough because sometimes you guys have bad days because you'll have patients that are not, maybe not as motivated as me, and it wears on you. You all typically wear that very well and hide that very well. The patient after that hard patient will generally pick up on that. And we're hypersensitive. I don't know if this is because of the stroke or because our world is so focused. We're hypersensitive to those around us. So just be conscious of that and try and leave it behind. I'll tell you that the ladies that I work with, you could almost never tell that, other than they might say, thank God it's you. And that motivates me. That makes me feel great because my therapist is excited to work with me. I mean, I'm just Steve, you know. But so that for me is motivation. What sorts of things? I think the big ball. the big ball. It's very painful. But that thing is really good. I will tell you that the core work that the gals do with me is real important. We kind of tend to forget the core. Some of the gals do not forget the core at all. And it's like, holy crap, I'm going to feel this tomorrow. But the cool thing is that when I feel it tomorrow, it reminds me of what it was beforehand, when I would work out normally and I'd be a little sore. I'll tell you, my lower back from flying helicopters, my lower back was a mess. I'll tell you now that I don't feel it, because the other injuries kind of took it over. I am not in much pain now at all. The only pain I have is when I lay down on my head to go to sleep, and the damn plates in the head and the neck, I can actually feel them. So that's the only thing that I have trouble with. So the nursing, I don't know if there's many nurses in here. My son-in-law is a emergency room nurse. They just moved up here, thank God, to be closer to us. When Lori called him and told him he was on duty, what had happened to me as she was driving to meet my helicopter, he says, holy shit. And she said, Lori says, don't say that. But it's because he knew what the heck it meant. But so nurses, it is so obvious which nurses really care and which ones are just working. Typically, at night, it's tough to find nurses that really, really care. So I'll leave it at that. It's tough. And that's a hard job too. But, as a nurse, remember, and my son-in-law knows this, remember that when you're seeing people and taking care of people, this is part of your job. They're at their worst. You're not getting people that are that are coming to buy something from you. The people you have are patients, and they're at their absolute worst, so they're going to give you their worst. They'll be nasty. They might not be so nice. I tried to be nice as best as I could and such, but you got to remember that. And that's a tough job too. That's a very tough job too. So that's my only advice to that I could give. Be innovative. Be innovative with therapies. Kelly's new student that's with her has come up with these new incredibly difficult things to do, but it's making me be able to pick toothpicks up and put them into little teeny holes, so the fine motor skills, so there's innovation out there, so innovate, try new things. That's a good thing. Yeah, Terry.
Do you want to talk a little bit about transitioning back to work and how that was?
Getting back to work, my wife is very, very protective of me. We're high school sweethearts, but we're always pretty protective of each other. But I put her through a heck of a scare. So what we did in this transition, before I was allowed to go back to work, we had to ride the metro to work and go up to work. So I had some wonderful therapists that put together a training package where they took me and Lori on the metro, and we went the route that I go. We took the elevator, we went up, they checked out the desks, they did all this stuff, which actually was incredibly helpful. They could see what I did and where I did it and what my daily, getting to and from would be. They didn't see that, I take the train, I take the VRE in from Manassas, and getting off at Alexandria is about a 2-foot drop that typically the conductor, probably 50% of the time, will put a stool there. So we really have been working for several months now, Caitlin and I, on being able to step up 2 feet and step down from 2 feet for me to be able to get out. So now I'm actually able to put my briefcase down to measure the distance, because you don't have depth perception with one eye. That's really the hardest thing. And then I'm able to actually jump off the train at that stop. Now, if she knew that, she would have a fit. Now she knows. But the transition back to work, I will tell you, the bridge program is huge, because it's the goal is to get us back to work. And that is therapy in itself. Being able to be people would say, well, why are you trying to go back to work so soon? You're having a hard time walking still. It's because what it does up here. It makes you feel like you're now a productive part of society again. And that's what this did. So the Bridge program drives towards that. And they prepared me very well. They helped me, how do you button a shirt? How do you put a tie on? Oh, by the way, today was the first day I was able to button the top button. It's the first day. She always had, the top button is horizontal. It's not vertical. Who would have thought? But it's hard to do that one-handed and with this hand as well. And I usually have to have Lori do the top button for me to put a tie on. I don't know if she noticed this morning that I didn't need that help. So there's another big plus. Yeah. But so the transition to work is therapy in itself. It really is. Every day I go there, I feel good about it. Every day I go to therapy, I feel good about it. I feel good about life. I am incredibly lucky. Don't look at me and feel bad. Feel happy, because I'm one lucky guy. I really am. So